Welcome, ghouls and gals, to MovieFrightFare. I am Ghoulie Herb, your horrifying but humble host, here to share some terrific trivia about the spookiest classics of scare cinema ever made. There are so many great stories behind our favorite fright films, it's hard to know where to start. Perhaps I shall let fate decide by spinning Ghoulie Herb's weird wheel. Aha! Now let's spin the wheel to find out which decade of dread we will deal with today. Fans of the fiendish will start with The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, the groundbreaking 1919 film directed by Robert Wiene. You might know it stars Werner Krauss as the not-so-good doctor, a sideshow hypnotist who commands a sleepwalker, played by Conrad Veidt, into his dark bidding. You may be familiar with the trippy production, design, and dark corridors, a defining classic of German expressionist style. But did you know the script was nearly filmed without its scarifying surprise ending? According to Fritz Lang, who went on to direct the nightmarish M and the sci-fi epic Metropolis, he was the man first asked to take the reins of the film. Lang says he turned it down because he didn't believe audiences could appreciate its extreme and artificial style, and that it was he who supplied the film's producers with the idea to create the film's bizarre and trend-setting twist. What is it, you ask? Well, if you don't know the answer yet, I suggest you watch this terrorizing treasure and find out. If you dare now, which silent shocker was the one and only production from the Prana Film Company? Which jittery flick held its premiere at the Berlin Zoo? Which creepy classic survives in spite of a 1925 order by the German government that all prints be destroyed? Of course, we're talking about 1922's Nosferatu, a symphony of horror. The first and completely unauthorized film version of Bram Stoker's vampire epic Dracula. Max Schreck plays the title character, a fanged, bald-headed, pointy-eared child of the night who looks like a cross between a bat and Vin Diesel. This Schreck is not into flatulence or even princesses. He is into hypnosis and blood-sucking. The moody, realistic locations and gruesome makeup alone make this film a macabre masterpiece. If Shrek's scary face is familiar to you, even if you've not seen the film, it may be because decades later it was appropriated for a TV movie version of Stephen King's Salem's Lot, that's the first one, and by Klaus Kinski when Werner Herzog remade the Murnau film, and by Willem Dafoe in Shadow of the Vampire, the frightening and funny tale about the legends surrounding this fantastic film. Speaking of legends, we mustn't neglect to mention the macabre master known as the Man of 1,000 Faces. Students of the Shutterson probably know that Lon Chaney Sr. starred in Universal Pictures' first foray in the fright, playing deformed bell ringer Quasimodo in 1923's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This tour de force of sinister makeup and screen acting showcased Chaney's great talents as he rescues gypsy girl Esmeralda from revolutionary forces while providing her sanctuary inside the magnificent Cathedral of Notre Dame. Of course, we also know he continued his screen-shock legacy 2 years later as the Phantom of the Opera, in which he played the mysterious masked figure haunting the not-so-gay Paris opera house, obsessed with a lovely singer played by Mary Philbin. The film is best remembered for Chaney's spectacular unmasking scene where his ghoulish face is revealed for all the world to see. The image is still striking and haunting today. But how many monster mavens know that Chaney's very last film was a talkie? Yes, the silent star's voice was finally heard in The Unholy Three, in which Chaney plays the role of Echo, a carnival ventriloquist who turns to a life of crime with the diminutive Harry Earls and the much-muscled Victor McLaughlin, his sideshow pals. In order to pull off an elaborate scam, Chaney masquerades as an elderly woman who owns a pet shop. Strangely, the talking birds sound a lot like Chaney. Director Todd Browning, who later did Dracula with Bela Lugosi, enjoyed many collaborations with Chaney. Here, he was remaking his own 1925 silent film, which also starred Lon Chaney. We haven't seen The Unholy Three on home video since its Laserdisc release, when it was paired with Chaney's memorable jungle melodrama, West of Zanzibar. So this one is hard to find. But once you've seen it, it's impossible to forget. There are other silent classics that are worth mentioning. Let's not forget that star John Barrymore brought his own house plants to decorate the set of 1920s Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or that Paul Wegener's performance in the 1920 film The Golem was the second and not the first time he had portrayed the heroic clay creature of Jewish folklore. And that in 1922 surreal Swedish sorcery epic Hexen, Witchcraft Through the Ages, writer-director Benjamin Christensen decided to cast himself in the film in the role of the devil. And that the producers of the Blair Witch Project, decades later, called their company Hexen Films in tribute to this disturbing mix of documentary and dramatization. There's just so much terrific trivia that I'm afraid all the time that we have is gone for now. But don't fret. Now that we're best fiends, I'm sure we'll be seeing each other again. Until next time, goodbye.